welcome everyone. Welcome to an amazing time, and we're here to have a phenomenal time, every single one of us. So welcome, and happy International Women's Month. Happy International Women's Month. Yes, I know we're about to exit, but it's every month is International Women's Month as far as I'm concerned. And I'm sure you've been at several women-focused events this month. It's been a lot, but truly it's never enough. I always say that women are made for grit, and when it comes to being made for grit, you have to keep learning and unlearning and learning and unlearning, and it just keeps going on and on. So welcome to A TEPS Discussion. Round of applause, please. Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, so we're here because of TEPS. If you know TEPS, can you raise your hand, say hi? Oh, almost everybody. So what I'm going to do next might be, I might be preaching to the choir, but we're here because of TEPS, and they've created this amazing platform for us to have very meaningful and impactful conversations. I mean, those of us in and around the event space, right? So I'm going to do something kind of mundane, and I'm going to read who TEPS is, but then I'm going to read it from the point of view of someone who has worked with TEPS one-on-one. So TEPS is an all-in-one event management and ticketing platform, and they are designed to simplify your planning experience for not just your attendee or your customer or your client, but for the event management company as well. So from the seamless guest registration and check-in to real-time access and control, down to personalized engagement, TEPS helps you all the way. They help plan and organize and help you make sure you're running a smooth and efficient event. Now, when it comes to TEPS, now this is where the personal experience comes in. I can say a couple of things when it comes to working with TEPS. For one, TEPS is built by events professionals. That means they're actually informed. So when it comes to working with them, you're not just getting the regular schmegular, you're really getting in-depth information. They can help you break down your ticketing process, tell you what your loopholes are, and help you fill those loopholes, right? TEPS is also simple to use. Again, ease, praise God. They are supported by event tech consultants, so they bring that era of innovation to your events. When your clients get or your customers get to the gates, I mean, first impression is everything. So when they get there, they're already getting a sense of, these people know what they're doing. The sign-up process was easy, and it just kind of sets the tone for a very seamless event. Obviously, TEPS, when it comes to their excellency and hospitality, you do not want your attendees attending an event and from the gate they're already fighting. So when it comes to that hospitality, really making your guests feel welcome, TEPS is on top of the game. Custom solutions, it's not rinse and repeat, it's not a one-size-fits-all. They listen and they learn from what you have to say, and they take that into account even when they're providing the service. And one thing that makes TEPS stand out is the fact that you play a major factor in how they work. Your unique ideas, what you want to achieve, even your pain points that might be unique to you or might be unique to your industry, they take all those things into account, and they're able to help you deliver an amazing experience. And speaking of amazing experiences, that's part of why we're here today. This is a TEPS discussion, right? Thank you. I'm going to give Sasha a gold star. I'm going to give her a gold star by the time we're done. So we're here for a TEPS discussion. A TEPS discussion, this is their third year and the first hybrid event. I mean, I'm going to share more on this later, but this is our first hybrid event, and this is their third year. That says something. By year 3, as a kid, you already know what you were doing, right? And we had 3-year-olds, they're all around. If you're to speak about this in Game of Thrones terms, this is season 3, and this is where we had the Red Wedding. It was a bloody affair, but today it's going to be a pivotal time for every single one of us, because we're going to be leaving with something meaningful. It's going to be a sharp left for a lot of you. You're going to be learning and unlearning, and I'm eager to just get the conversation started. So now a TEPS discussion is literally the series put together by TEPS for events leaders, industry leaders, to come and share their insights on the innovations, the trends, and even the challenges that face the experience curation industry, right? And we're kind of all aware of those ones. So I'm excited to be sitting smack in the middle of two amazing women. You see, you don't know the ginger. I've been excited since the first day I heard about this. And so I've been thinking of how to introduce them, honestly, but I'm going to read their bios. And when I'm done, I'm going to tell you why I'm reading their bios. So I'm going to start with FVO, the CVO. Okay, Funmi Victor-Okigbo is a visionary in experience design and event architecture, dedicated to transforming how brands connect with their audiences. As the product designer and chief visionary officer at Events Architects Limited, she has redefined corporate events through immersive, strategic, and meticulously executed experiences, with a career spanning multiple industries, including technology, lifestyle, entertainment, art, media, banking, and consumer goods. Funmi has worked with top executives and organizations to craft high-impact events that align with business objectives while saving time and resources. Her agency's event architecture methodology has set new standards in terms of experiential marketing, making her a trusted partner for corporations seeking unforgettable engagements. Beyond corporate events, Funmi is a creative force behind the Unofficial Christmas Party. Woo! An acclaimed year-end event solution for businesses, and the Big Birthday, a stress-free, high-energy celebration concept for corporate and private events. She's passionate about fostering the next generation of event professionals, and that's because she has founded Event Architects Academy, a platform dedicated to training and mentoring emerging talents in the industry. Her expertise don't stop there. I've said a lot, but that's not all. So it extends to film, where she made her mark as the art director in Hollywood in hits such as The Royal Hibiscus Hotel and The Wedding Party 2, the highest grossing Nollywood movie of its year. That is saying something, right? So she has unwavering commitment to innovation and excellence. FVO continues to shape the future of events design, helping brands and individuals create experiences that leave a lasting impact. FVO, everybody. Round of applause. FVO. That's why you're always tired. And now we have our second speaker. Okay. Sasha P is a seasoned professional in the African entertainment industry, with a portfolio career spanning 19 years, which has seen her significantly contribute to the music, fashion, food, media, live entertainment industries, and most recently, film as the head of production at Magic Line Studios. She's a multi-award winning pioneer of the African hip-hop scene. She holds multiple credits for creative direction, project management, and artist coordination with the biggest award shows and festivals in Nigeria. I want to say in and outside Nigeria. Thank you very much. She is a strategist, creative visionary, power negotiator, and a deal maker. She continues to lend her voice to women empowerment initiatives, mental health, and breast cancer awareness while seeking and providing new opportunities. Sasha launched the first of its kind Hard Knock series, an artist development workshop. It's a workshop series to educate and empower young talents seeking to achieve their fullest potential. Currently on a mission to create value and pioneer the African touring circuit for talent home and in the diaspora via her creative agency, Purple Fire Entertainment, fondly called the First Lady of African Hip Hop. She is indeed a consummate creative who has mastered the art of maximizing her career trajectory. Please welcome Sasha. Amazing. I am very excited to be speaking with both of you. Now, in reading your bios, you can hear words like innovation already. You can hear words like creative impact. You can hear words like just being able to stand the test of time, literally. We have two people who have been doing it for the longest, and we're here to glean, we're here to listen, we're here to learn from both of you, and I'm very excited about this conversation. But there's something missing, I don't know. You could even say, okay, Jennifer, we heard about Sasha's bio, we heard about FU's bio, your own bio, you could even say, Jennifer, tell us about yourself.
Come on.
Should I read my own?
Yes, please.
It's because you asked so. Okay, so a visionary strategy and event specialist at Hughes Fellers with a keen eye for design and meticulous attention to detail, Jennifer Obiuwevbi excels in creative, immersive event experiences and demonstrates the innovation and reinvention central to this discussion. Jennifer's talent for content creation and ideation mirrors a forward-thinking approach needed in today's rapidly evolving landscape. With experience curating high-profile events across Lagos, Jennifer plays a key role in weaving compelling narratives at Hughes Fellers, further growing her ability to build and maintain a strong audience connection with her ideas, making her the ideal guide for this exploration of innovation, reinvention, and lasting impact. Round of applause for Jennifer. Yay! Thank you so much, everyone. I'm excited. I'm sure you can already tell. And I'm eager for us to just dive into this conversation head first. Now, let's kick things off. In 3 words or less, I would like to ask both of you to tell me what comes to mind when you hear the word innovation. So, Effie, let's start with you.
I think for me, innovation is pretty much finding a solution to a problem, doing something that has probably not been done before because somebody has not thought about it. Or, because I always say when it comes to ideas, I say this thing, the first person that invented the car is not the first person who thought about it. Yeah? So sometimes somebody does something and you're like, oh my God, I thought about this 20 years ago. Like, well, sorry, you didn't do anything about it. Yeah, so that's what it is. That's an innovation.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I love the fact that you're emphasizing on action behind the idea. That's a massive part of innovating. So, Sasha, what's innovation to you?
Innovation to me would be creativity. It would be execution, like she said, because if you can think of a million ideas, if you don't do anything, you haven't innovated anything. And I would say passion. Those are the 3 ways I would describe innovation.
Fantastic. I love the word passion. I mean, we have a lot of people who are passionate about many different things. I think action and having that creative spark also plays a massive role. Speaking of action, what are some of the strategies that have helped you stay? No, let me rephrase that. What are some of the strategies that have helped you get ahead and stay ahead in the industry? Efio, please take that question.
So for me, I don't know if I'm staying ahead.
Yo, you are.
Still striving and trying to do better. But for me, I think there's some things that when you do it by default, you stay ahead. Thinking about your clients and truly caring about them. It starts with that. If you care about your clients, you care about the problem you're trying to solve, then the ideas will come to make it better. I tell my team all the time, it's about value. When somebody pays you money, they expect something back. You don't just collect the money and start chilling. You are taking stress off them. Somebody's paying so that I tell them, I said, a lot of people who pay us money, they know what to do. If I asked anybody here, I said, okay, do you know how to plan a party? By the time you go on ChatGPT,
a full list.
The vendor, top drinks company, you get all that, right? So you are more than a database of service providers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if everybody can get that, what is the value you are bringing? So for me, it's always about thinking about that. Also learning from every event. So get the data, look at the way people interact with the things you've provided and try to do better the next time. So I feel like when you do some of these things by default, you'll stay ahead.
I love that. Thank you so much. I particularly love how your answer kind of leans to that synergy that you provide as the professional that you're bringing on board. I mean, like you said, you can go on ChatGPT and you have a whole list of what to do. It can literally help you plan the party. But what it doesn't have is that human element. What it doesn't have is your expertise, your know-how, the fact that you know how it works, you know what typically you can advise and all of that. So I think that's very key when it comes to the strategic part of staying ahead. Sasha, let me ask you this. What do you think are some of the challenges that women face when it comes to leading that innovation? I mean, International Women's Month, I'm sure you've attended a couple of events virtually or in person, and you see women come to the fore and talk about, oh, this was, a pitfall, or this doesn't support, females in the industry, etc. So what are some of those issues that you've experienced, you've come across, you see, and what are some of the strategies you've used to kind of circumvent or overcome those problems?
Okay. I think just being women is the first challenge. Like when everybody says it, it's like you're the woman in the room, you're at a table, you're at a meeting, and then they ask you to bring the coffee, and you're just executive, just like everybody else on the table. So I think first of all, it's just being able to assert yourself as a woman in these spaces, and not thinking that your gender is a barrier to achieving things or speaking up. And a lot of the time is also seeing beyond being belittled even. Sometimes you try to get an idea across, somebody talks over you, you repeat yourself, you say it again. What I have to say is valuable, and I'm contributing to what is going on. So I think first of all, it's just getting past the gender war that we're constantly faced with. I think also collaboration has been something that has elevated the game for women, especially because I feel like, how they say, one can face 100 and then two can do 10,000, and that's the thing. I think there's so much power in women supporting each other, in listening and sharing their experiences. I'm so glad that this Women's Month, we've really highlighted sharing people's journeys, which I think, a lot of younger people that I speak to that, want to be mentored, they're always asking about that journey. Because, with social media, it's so easy to just see the finished product and not see what it takes to get there, not see the days when your boss cried, not see, the amount of mental strength and dedication it requires to keep showing up. So I think, highlighting that is the best thing that has happened. Just sharing people's journeys helps everybody else get ahead.
Thank you so much. That's amazing. I love the fact that, if you're looking at your gender as a stumbling block, it's going to be a stumbling block. But then, outside of what society and media, social media, whatsoever, even your parents and friends and associates can make you feel like you're less than, make you feel like you're not up to. So it depends on the story you tell yourself. It depends on what you believe personally. A lot of people who make it today, they have to tell themselves a different story and create a different narrative. So I really enjoy that. Can you share a time with me when reinvention or pivoting, COVID introduced the word pivot. So can you share a time where pivoting became crucial for you? It's something that you needed to do, and how did you do it? And I have a second question, but I'm going to let you answer that first one first.
Oh, wow. Let me see. This is very interesting. I think that a time I pivoted would probably be my transition from music to fashion. I coveted the Best Female in Africa award from before MTV even existed. And then I finally won it, and then it was like, okay, what next? Where do we go from here? What's the next big dream? And so I had to take some time for myself to figure out, why I was doing what I was doing, what I actually enjoyed, if I was doing, at some point, we all want to make money, but at some point, a lot of the energy becomes focused on just that, and then you're doing it, but then there's no joy. So I had to find what excited me again. And that was, making clothes. I was already making clothes that I would wear to, performances. I was already doing all of that. And so I decided to create a retail line, affordable, and with very eclectic pieces. I wanted to look good without breaking the bank. And at the time, there was a lot of haute couture and just, red carpet fashion. And I'm like, okay, I want to go for lunch with my girlfriends. I want to look cute. And I don't want to break the bank or have to wear designer to look cute. So what do we do? So that was me transitioning, and I had to get into this new space. I remember at the time I had spoken to some really huge designer, and I'd said to him, oh, I'd love for you to mentor me. Like, I have this dream to do ready to wear fashion, affordable, and all of that. And he was like, actually, I think you just stick to that. And so, wow. So it was also, being able to legitimize it. And I think one of the things that also helped me through that transition was, a group of lovely women who created something called the Petit Marché. And then they had a store where they would just showcase other African designers. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to make clothes and put them on the rack. So I traveled, went to go and buy books, sat down, taught myself all sorts of things, and then made this collection of 100 pieces and stocked it at I forgot what the store was actually called, but it was by the same people. And one of the things that I was very intentional about was I wanted people to pick the clothes and like them, not because Sasha made them, but because the quality was good. Like I went to stores, look inside out, how it does the seam look, things like that. So I wanted them to like the clothes because they liked them. Because a lot of people were going into that space thinking, she's a rapper now, she's making clothes, only God knows what, So a lot of clothes for the clothes. And because of that intention, that was what happened. And now I walk around and see people in the street that will see me and just hug me. This is my dress, I've had it for 10 years. And that makes me feel so good because it was an identity separate from Sasha, the rapper, the musician. It was just me expressing it a different way. So, I went there, started from the bottom, but I'm very grateful for all the, clients that supported us along the way.
Amazing. Reinvention, everybody. Amazing. Thank you so much. I absolutely, and funny enough, when I realized that I was going to be moderating today and speaking with you, that was one of the key things I wanted to find. I said, I'll ask my questions. I don't know about the list that you're giving me. Because I wanted to just, find out more about that journey. I remember one day waking up and like, how is Sasha P? And then I started listening to your old songs and, just thinking about, the fact that people can reinvent themselves. You're not meant to be stuck in a box. That's not what you're designed for. You're multi-hyphenated by nature. That's just who you are. So you cannot just have one dream. You can break it down into many different parts. I don't know if anyone has told you that you have a uniqueness about you. Apart from, your sense of style, your approach to things, thank you. You have a uniqueness about you. Just even, this is the first time I'm meeting you, but from afar, I've sensed the uniqueness. So how do you bring that core of who you are when it comes to the industry pivots? How do you stay true to, okay, this is FBO, this is event architects. In the event industry, we all had to pivot quite aggressively. We were used to events being a human being, another human being. Oh, you come, we serve you food, entertain you a little and all of that. But then we had to understand the real reason behind a gathering, whether it's in person or virtual. So thinking about that, how have you been able to stay true to your core, especially when it comes to navigating the many winds of the event industry?
Well, first of all, for me, I think staying in your lane.
Well, that's,
and being true to yourself. One thing I know is I know who I am, and I am authentic, right? I don't try to be someone else. When I see something that I like, I appreciate it for what it is. Draw inspiration maybe, but what I don't do is copy. I want to be exactly like that because I can't be like that. When people talk about the industry and okay, do you have competition and all that, I tell people that nobody really has competition. I know it sounds, nobody really has competition. Some people will look at me and be like, this man is crazy, big hair. I went and I presentation one time and the ideas were crazy and I loved it and I didn't get the job. And somebody who sat in the conference later called me and said, Funmi, your ideas were great, but we are conservative here and we will not appreciate that. So I understood that it wasn't because my ideas were not great, it was just not right for them. So, but there's someone else who walked into that place and like, hey, this person is very formal, very demure. So I really competition. We're all unique. God has placed different things in different people, right? So I think that's that. Pivoting. For me, I would say I've evolved. I don't know about people because everything that I do, there's experience design in it, there's problem solving in it, there's value in it. Okay, you go on my guy on Instagram and said, I did it better than I found it. So those are the three things that drive me. Living things better than that I found it, which is value. Designing experience, being quite intentional about how people interact with the spaces that you create. So you come in here. So I'm always just thinking obsessively about when somebody comes into my event space, what are they doing? What are they thinking? What about that one person who comes without a friend? A lot of times when people go for events, they want to go with a friend because they're like, I don't want to be bored. But I'm thinking, no, I want to decide for that one person who will come and not come with a friend. How would I keep that person entertained? How would I keep that person excited? When you think it through, when you're able to solve that problem, then you have a truly amazing event. So that's the experience design part. And then the problem solving part is at the end of the day, we are all solving a problem.
Yes, we are.
So when you engage with your clients, you can't just start by, oh, it's your party, oh, yeah, small jobs, risky. No, you can't start from there. You have to get into the head of your clients. Look, I've done all sorts of things. There was a time that I asked because I have an academic, and I was asking my students at the time, I'm like, when somebody is celebrating their 60th birthday, what do you think it's about? They were like, oh, they want to have their friends to come and celebrate with them. I'm like, yeah, that's emotional and nice. But the truth is, most 60-year-old women or men who are highly successful, it's about making a statement. You have to understand that beyond that. Who is in the room? I have achieved, I am here now. I'm inviting the governor, I'm inviting this person. So you cannot let me down. So you have to understand that this is not just about, oh, I want to sing happy birthday. So when you understand the problem that you are solving, then you actually be able to design an event that will meet your client's needs, and then the value now comes. I don't know if I'm making this.
No, a lot of it. I don't know if I answered your question. Yeah. You did. You did. I like the fact that you lean more to individualism and you lean more to being true to yourself and staying true to yourself. It's very easy to be swept off by, oh, this person is doing that, it seems to be working. That person is doing that, it seems to be working. And what you find out is you're all over the place. You don't have any foundation. And the honest fact is, if we're all trying to be anyone else, who's going to be you? You're just leaving a vacant spot. There's a vacancy that has your name on it, and you're out there trying to fit into someone else's mold. And that doesn't work in any sense. What advice do you have for people who are trying to pivot? Because reinvention is something we should do, in my opinion, regularly. I think it's something you need to, every couple of months, every couple of years, sit there with yourself and think through, okay, this is where I am now. Do I want to evolve to be something else? Is there more to this? Am I switching lanes? So what advice do you have for people who are currently sitting in that spot now and thinking of, I want to reinvent myself, I want to go and do something else? What is ABCD? What are the things I should be taking into account?
Okay, what I'll say is, beyond your idea, is there a market for it? Do you actually have someone who's interested in it? As creatives, you are in your head, you come up with an idea, you're excited, oh my God. I saw something recently on Instagram, and somebody who came to talk to him about, I think this lady was in university, and she came up with an idea to maybe rent out clothes. She and her friends wanted to rent out clothes and stuff like that. And she was like, oh my God, just talking to this guy, I think he's a software engineer, and I want you to help me build a database of some app that will make it easy for people to rent clothes online. And the guy said, okay, great idea, but let's test it out first, okay? Put a sign on your door in the university and say, this is what you do. If people knock on your door to ask for that service, then you know it's a great idea. If not, why bother? So again, it starts with your clients or your target audience. So who are you designing what you're designing for? If they don't care about it, then what are you doing? So it starts with truly caring about your clients or your target audience. So that idea has to align with that, and then you have a business. If not, you're just going to be vibing to your own ideas and you're not going to make any money. And something is, and I know that everyone who has started a business, we have all gone through that. Oh, I'm doing this for the idea. I mean, that's sorry for another day. Doing things that you love and you're on your laptop looking at it. This is such a great idea. But nobody cares about it, right? Well, there's a place for that. But if you really want to make money, then it has to be something that people care about.
So in other words, take your idea out for a test drive.
Absolutely.
Take
Well
it,
said.
take it out for a test drive. Don't just park your idea in your house and
be
be washing you, polishing it and checking and like, okay, let's just take it out, let people see, let people touch it, let people feel it, let people interact with it. And thank you. So you're even proving, your idea. You're making sure that, okay, people test this car. Thank you. They're testing this and they're saying, oh, do you know what? We like it, but this part is not really. We like it, but it's too expensive. We like it, but this other person saying it for half the price. It helps you kind of gauge, and you can launch, in the best way possible. Now, Sasha, like an echo. Every time and I'm not even joking. When I hear your name, literally, how if you say a word and if you're in a place that has a vacuum, it echoes.
Oh my God.
And then maybe if you say, for example, now dollars, you hear dollars. When I hear Sasha, what rings in my ear is Adara.
That's like a constant prayer. So I love that.
So you have literally done a thing in my life, I can tell. I'm sure in a lot of people, when we heard Sasha P and everybody, applauded. You've found a way to bottle up lasting impact, whether you know it or not. And the fact that we know who you are, even based off of what you did in 2015, way back when, shows that you have something, right? That you figured it out when it comes to creating a thing, and that thing lives through being generations, memory, past COVID, where a lot of us had, amnesia, so to speak. When it comes to reinvention, when it comes to creating that lasting impact, how do you make sure that beyond success, people remember who you are, people remember what you can do, and are able to still come back again and again?
So you're so generous, because as we're even speaking, like you bottled it, you created it. I said none of those things.
Thank you.
So kind. God did that. All I did was make myself available and stay curious. I think that with regards to even doing anything, the intention matters. I say this all the time, whether you're planning an event, whether you're creating a garment, whether you're putting together a song. I personally am of the belief that intentions carry through. So all I have done is been true to myself and been intentional about the things that I'm sharing. How do I want you to feel when you receive this? How am I feeling? Maybe I'm trying to work through an emotion. Like Ada, I was literally just venting. That's like, you're listening to me and a therapist I didn't have at the time. And it was something that all of us could relate to. And I think that's really it. A lot of the time when I ideate something, or I want to create something, or I want to plan something, I'm thinking about sharing my joy. That's the best way to put it. Like, I want you, this thing is exciting to me. I want you to feel that thing too. So I feel like, because a lot of the time my intention is to make people feel good about what it is I'm doing is beyond myself. I think God honors that. Like, when you're doing things beyond yourself, it will be honored. So yes, we want to make money. Yes, we want to create things in the world. I did not go, I did at some point write down when I was like maybe 17 and you're leaving school and they say, oh, what do you want to say? And I'm like, look, I want to make a mark in my generation. But making a mark in my generation means impact. Impact is beyond myself. It means that I'm doing something that is useful beyond you just knowing my name. So you call my name, but what value did I add? What did I change? What light did I spark? And that, I think, is what I've been able to do. Stay true by being intentional.
Thank you so much. I love your response. And as you were speaking, what kept on ringing in my ear, and I'm not going to embarrass myself by trying to find the exact Bible passage, but that speaks about how things of the Spirit last longer. And if I'm going to break it down into, I would say, layman's terms, is beyond money, beyond all this elevation, etc. The things that really count, making someone feel happy, sparking emotion, is the core of the event space. What people feel when they walk into your space, what they hear, when you're able to spark. I was talking to Evie earlier, and I was saying that I remember the first time I went for an unofficial Christmas party. The fact that I remember it today like this is amazing. Once you're able to connect emotionally with your attendee, not just one person, several, if not all of them, you're going to definitely, it's like a taste in your mouth, it's not going to go away. Now, Evio, you have an academy, and we're talking earlier, you're talking about how you saw a problem, you created a solution. Now, what role do you think mentorship and community plays in sustaining influence or even building it in the first place?
Mentorship. Well, I think that for mentorship, right, it's very important. I think sometimes we should think outside the box. Sometimes people think that mentorship has to be somebody that you will be carrying their bag and following them around. They'll be constantly talking to you about stuff. Look for people around you that inspire you for different things, whether online, offline. Pick those things together and make it into it, because right now a lot of people are busy. Nobody really has that time to sit down and start talking to somebody for monitors. And again, sometimes the mentees want to be mentored for the wrong reasons, right? You know, they're seeing something there. They are looking, so they're looking at someone like Sasha now, and maybe looking at the fashion. Oh, I like the way she dresses, and that's the thing that is doing them. You know, you have an opportunity. You walk into a room with someone like Sasha, and you walk to her, and you just want to take a selfie. So you can but in those 2 minutes, you could have asked her a question like, what changed your life? Or do you have a word for me? And that is more important than that photo.
Absolutely.
So it is important, but I think we also have to be creative in how we interact with our mentors or find mentors. And I'm not saying that the traditional way of mentorship is not something that we should strive for. But I'm saying when that is not possible, or before it's possible, let's look for inspiration all around us. So yeah, again, I don't know if I answered your question.
I mean, you have summed it up in a nutshell, and I kind of sense a similarity between what you said and what Sasha said earlier about intention, right? Or intention on the part of the mentor and the mentee. Why are you there? Why are you doing what you're doing? I'll give you a very brief story. There's a couple of months ago, I moderated at an event, and I ran into someone who I look up to, and a lot of people had flocked around her with taking photos, and I wanted to take a photo with her, but I had to ask myself why. Not because I don't admire this person, I adore her, but am I plugging into the hype of, I'm at this event, I met this person, and then I post on social media, people say, like, okay, Jennifer knows this person, wow. But I now go home and I'm back at the same level that I was prior to the event. Or would I rather, in my opinion, get to the point where I can build it, and even she recognizes the value I now have, and even if before me go to say I'm hustling for a picture, she sees, oh Jennifer, how are you? Let's take a photo. There's something more rewarding in that when you have that dedication, and that just speaks to being intentional about yourself. We see Sasha being intentional, we see Effie being intentional. And that goes a long way.
I was at a women's event a few days ago, and they said something that I'd never even thought about in that aspect, but it's something that I practice, and they call this reverse mentorship. And I think that, in the event space, it's really about staying curious, it's about being open, and you find out that a lot of the younger, our Gen Z or whatever, their relationship with technology is very different from ours. They see it in a totally different way. Their mindset is different. And so even at any point in your career, you can still be learning. And you might even be learning from the person you're mentoring as well. So be open to, receiving feedback or seeing things from a different perspective. Yes. That's what helps you evolve in the long run, being able to adjust to the times. So even your mentees can mentor you.
Yeah, I love that. Perfect. Great answer. Thank you so much. Yes, please.
Mentorship thing. If you're a mentee and you're looking for someone to mentor you, don't be a user. Don't just be about what you want to get.
Yeah.
Bring some value.
Yeah.
And that's what will make you stand out. And do a double take and be like, you're different. Sit down, let's talk. That's what I'm going to say.
It's funny how everyone he's like a big seller. Like, I've seen this like that. I mean, I love that. Being able to just say, beyond what I'm going to earn, beyond what I'm going to get from this company, what am I bringing? How can I be of service? Because it's not just on your side. You're also taking up their time, you're taking up their expenses, they're paying for a couple of things. They should get value back as well. Now, I want to ask a very I think this is something that everyone in this room has touched base on at some point in time. It's not on my list, but I feel like it's a very important topic to discuss, and that's the topic of fear. How do you interact and deal with fear? Sasha, I'll start with you because I can only imagine. And even preparing for this conversation, I thought to myself, and I'm like, I wonder if at any point in time, and feel free not to respond to this part, if looking at the music scene today with how global everything is, and you sing a song, it pops on TikTok, it's international sensation, people are screaming it at UEFA, do you ever have that thing, oh, should I dip my toe back in, should I stay where I'm at? And then how has fear kind of, would I say, shaped? And I say this in the sense that fear is not going anywhere, here to stay. So how do you work with fear, or how do you acknowledge fear in, striving, innovating, reinvention, and, having impact?
Let me answer the fear question. I'm going to take a page from the book of Rihanna, YouTube version, God knows what. Somebody asked her, she said, what do you do on the days when you don't feel confident? She said, I fake it. That's what you do. You do it afraid, you do it with your voice shaking, you do it with butterflies in your tummy, you do it nervous, but you do it. Just keep showing up. And so I don't think that the fear ever leaves. I think that if you're doing anything worth of note, you're going to be afraid, you're going to have nerves, you're going to, there's never a great time that you just feel like, yes, I'm the boss of this, let's go, It's something that you might do it better, you might have less, you might be less nervous, but the work doesn't ever stop. And with regards to dipping the toe, very interestingly, I was last week at Tim's concert in South Africa, and I was still explaining to somebody this morning how that was such a different version of me attending. Usually 10 years ago, arriving in South Africa, they are greeting me with drum, Sasha P, I enter care, they are singing for me, it was a very different experience. But then going into a place where you were popular, and then people are just I went there, I watched as a fan, like they had this fan shuttles and everything. I said, no, I want to experience what it feels like. So I got on the bus, I made friends on the bus. We watched the entire thing together, and I stood there and they were singing along, and I was like a social media manager. I was just recording, and somebody screams, I recorded, word for word. And I said to myself, I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything. I'm actually so proud that this is some, I remember booking 10 in 2019. People were crying, singing along. So I don't feel like I want to dip my toe in. I've been there, done that. But I want to do it in a different way. But I'm not missing out on anything. If anything, I'm so proud of how far we've come. And then I'm even challenged to think, where are we going from here? What do we do next? Like, that's the journey I'm currently on. Like, okay, after we have gone global, what next? Where do we go from here? And that's, I'll probably talk about what I'm working on later, but, it's a thing of pride for me. So, yes, I'm glad that we're making money. Of course, I want to go out how to make more money, but yeah, it's a collective pride at what we're doing creatively.
Yes, and one thing I want to say to you, and this might count as me giving you your flowers, but yes, I remember, coming across your songs and your music, and the one word that always resonated with me, that I always felt whenever I saw you, heard you, was resilience. And I'm glad that even whether you're behind the scenes, in front of the camera, whatever the case may be, that resilience, bits and pieces of it, is what we're seeing in the female artists that we see today. Back then we'd see you, we'd see Leola, we'd see Eva, we'd see a lot of people who are pushing the marker in terms of, we're female and we're going to be heard, and we're going to sing, we're going to rap, we're going to do whatever we want to do, and you're going to listen, and you have the talent. And it's amazing that you're now seeing kind of like, I would say, the fruits of your labor, because it really was you laboring without you even knowing who you were laboring for. And I applaud that. Congratulations.
Thank you for that.
Effie, I'm going to throw that same question about fear to you. You've been doing this eventing thing for a long time, and you've seen people come and go, people start and stop, but then you keep going. And I know fear is a constant for anyone and everyone, especially when it comes to starting something new, something innovative, what people haven't seen before, and you have to sell it. So how have you interacted with fear in your journey?
All right, I think fear is good and bad. Yeah, there's good fear and bad fear. So my students, they always ask me this actually, and they're like, "Evu, are you still afraid before any event? And I'm like, yes, every single time. I'm still anxious. I'm still, oh my goodness, what if this does not happen? So it's like, what do you now do with fear? So what I do is I break it down. Okay, what are you afraid of? I'm afraid that the food will not get here on time. So what are you going to do about it? Sometimes this fear is God's way of telling you to zoom in on something. So I now break it down. I do a, mental walkthrough. What is the worst thing that can happen? You write it down and start to break and have a plan B, C, D. Okay? But when fear now stops you from moving forward, that's the bad fear. So I think it depends on how you interact with fear. You cannot grow without being afraid. If it's not challenging, then there's no growth. I tell my team, sometimes when you hire somebody new and they are struggling, I'm like, this is a sign that you're in a good place. Because if you come in and you're just coasting, you're not going to grow. That means you're a local champion. You can't be a local champion here, Sometimes when I give my team, I tell them, well done. And then maybe 3 months later, they're messing up and I'm like, you're not doing this well. And then they're like, well, you told me well done 3 months ago. I'm like, yeah. I said, it's like you have a child. The child starts to say Google Gaga at a particular age. You say, well done. The child starts to stop and walk. You're like, well done. But when you are 6 or 7 and you're still saying Google Gaga, I'm not going to say well done to you. You're supposed to have grown, right? Yeah. So that's it. So there's good and bad fear. And it depends on how you interact with it. Everybody has fears. Everybody is anxious about one thing or the other, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. Yeah.
I love your response. Thank you so much. The analogy of a child growing is very apt, if I have to say so myself. It gets to a point where I get clapped for you before, but you should start walking at this point, And what I hear you also say is fear is more or less a mirror as opposed to a brick wall. So it's supposed to even show you, and don't be afraid to look at it. Even with myself, a lot of things what I end up doing is when something scares me, what I used to do, it's you will feel the major reaction to kind of step away from it or to kind of hide it or to cover it. But if I say it, it's not going to kill you. Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much. Very insightful. I'm full of questions, but I know that some people here have questions and contributions. So we do have a roaming mic, or we're going to have a roaming mic. I welcome questions from anyone who has them or contributions really to any aspect. I would actually okay. I want to also hear from everyone who's attending, what are your thoughts on fear and how do you deal and navigate fear in your day-to-day lives? Because that's something that has stopped a lot of greatness in the making. So yeah, let's get our first question or contribution.
Hi everyone.
Hello, Chizoba.
My first question is for FBO. I wanted to ask, for someone who has done what you've done for as long as you've done it, what would you say would be your end game? Like, what to you would be doing, leading, when the ovation is the loudest? Nobody says you have to stop, but just what would be, I've done this, I'm good, I'd like to stop here. Like, what would that crowning moment be for you that you would feel, yes, I think I'm gonna stop doing this. That's one question. And then for Miss Sash, my question was, you've worked in so many different spheres of the industry. What are you proudest of, and what's the one thing that you want to expand on? That's the thing where you want to see more growth, and we still see fashion from you.
I know that was best. That's my childhood friend, guys. By the way, so she's really trying to be professional here. So I'm gonna say, I'm gonna wear my professional hat. So do you want to go first, or should I go? Okay, great. So let me start with what would I've done so many things, and what would I? Yeah. So right now, I'm on the journey of. I've had a dream for the longest, over a decade, about creating an African touring circuit, and I'm obsessed with that right now, and that's really what I would like to put into the world. So that's my next big thing, but I do think that everything I've done, when you're younger and you're doing all these things, it feels sometimes it can look like you're all over the place. And you asked what was my favorite thing about it. I think my favorite thing about it is staying teachable and staying curious. Because regardless of whatever it is I'm doing, every time I try something new, I'm learning something new. I'm acquiring new skills. And God is so amazing in that way that where I am now, I needed to do everything I've done. Everything I've done, because I'm seeing it now and I'm like, okay, if I didn't do this, I won't be able to have this conversation. I will not know this knowledge. I won't know how to pick the right team. So everything you learn is part of the bigger picture, and that's my favorite thing.
So the question is, what is my retirement plan? How do you know I've not retired? For me, it is impact, and I have the academy now. Yeah, so it's about giving back. It's about the thing, creating people who are actually going to bring value to the system, who understand events the way I understand. And it's just impact, giving back, and I don't see myself retiring soon though.
Okay, that's good.
But, for me, the phase I'm in now is like, even with my team, when there's a problem, I am teaching. You can just say, oh, why did you do this wrong? I move on. No, my team will tell you, we sit down, we analyze, we talk, I train. And I tell them, I'm not going to do this for you the next time, because I want them to be able to do it themselves next time. So I'm always in teaching mode now. I'm about teaching and impact, because the world is not fun if you are the only one who's great at something. It's not fun. Let's spread it. Let's let more people know what you know. Yeah, that's where I am now.
Thank you so much. Fantastic. Chizola? Okay, awesome. Do you have any other questions? Okay, we have someone at the back. Okay, please go ahead.
Hi everyone.
Hello. Yes, we can.
I'm a bit nervous, but I'll try my best. I have two comments and then a question for both of you. First of all, my name is Ramola. Okay. Well, comment to Sasha. Hi Sasha.
Hi Ramola.
I've been a fan of since JS1.
Oh wow. I'm so young.
I went to Ghana College. So I went to Ghana College and we were there for like a couple of times to come and vlog. So like I've been a fan of since then. I've always loved how your Child Wednesday days when you were like basically like in the midst of men but like still thriving and still turning out. So like basically, like she said, you're the flowers that I'm giving them to you right here, your flowers. So yeah, proud of you, Sasha. FBU, I started working for FBU literally just a week ago. But that 1 week, honestly, like I've learned so many things. I'm so honored to work with FBU. You all like, so I won't go into that, but basically also FBU fangirl.
Thank you.
So my question to both of you is about confidence. As we can all see, like basically, like one thing about the topic is like you're both very, very confident ladies. So, what advice do you have for like girls or like young women who want to, grow in that confidence, like that are kind of like struggling with confidence? What advice do you have for girls like that, basically?
So beautiful. Thank you. Amazing question.
Yeah. So first of all, I want to thank you for that question, and I want to thank you for making it through even though your voice was shaking. That's confidence. Just practicing. A lot of the time I sit in front of people and my voice shakes. In fact, sometimes when I'm saying something that's really hitting me, I want to cry, but I have to. I was like, guys, So it is practice. You just have to keep practicing. You have to keep showing up. And if there are particular things about something that you feel maybe you're uneasy the most, read, ask questions. You have to fortify yourself. Confidence is just experience. And so when you lack experience, you use knowledge. So I think that pretty much sums it up for me. Yeah.
Thank you.
For me, confidence, to buttress what you said, is about doing it afraid, doing it anyway, right? If you're not good at something, you don't get better by not doing it. You know what I mean? If you can't cook, you can't say, I can't cook, I'm not going to cook. You're never going to get better. So you cook, you make a mistake, you burn the rice, you burn the plantain, and then one day you become a pro. So that's how you get confident. You have to just keep doing it
keep moving, keep going. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you. Amazing answers. Do we have one more question? Two more. Fantastic. Intimate conversation, but lovely engagements. Hi, your name and then in fact, your name, what you do, where you work. Tell us information and then your question.
Hello everyone.
Hi.
Adenike.
Hi, Adenike.
I work as an executive assistant and project admin with One Connect.
Okay, hi, Adenike.
So, I have a question for Sasha. I also have one for Hebio. So Sasha, I transitioned from human resources to events, and I wouldn't say it's been an easy experience. So transitioning from rapping to fashion, how easy was it for you? How was it easy for you to transition? What were your experiences? I want you to share that. Then to FVO, I've spent like a year in the event industry, and I can tell you that it's a really vast industry. What is it that you've been doing differently that has like make you an event architect, like stay unique and still relevant in a very vast industry?
Thank you. Okay, Sasha, let's have you first. Wow, if you use my glitz is way down.
Clear. Just to be sure I remember the question. It's how do I transition or work through?
Yes, how easy was it for you to make this?
I don't think it's easy as such. And then I think one thing that I need to be very open about is that there's really nothing that anybody sees me do that I started doing one day. I've always done everything, like even planning events. I've been doing, creative direction, heading that was right from the beginning, before the music became huge. I was already planning events, I was already doing things, I was already making clothes I was wearing. So I feel like, the attention just gives you a bigger platform. But these are things that I was already doing. So I think in that way, it didn't really feel to me like I was changing or moving through things. It was just that I was getting better or getting more visibility at one thing or the other.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Sasha. I believe you're asking for your secret sauce.
Yes. How do I stay relevant, right? Yeah, in a fast-paced industry. Again, I don't set out to say I want to be relevant. There are some things that when you do them, when you strike a match, there's fire. Do you know what I mean? When you work hard, you get rewarded. So I'm not going to say, so people who focus on, I want to be rich, they get into trouble. But when you focus on value, by default, you get rich. Yeah? So for me, there are just some things, my team sometimes ask me about creativity. How do you stay creative? I say creativity is a lifestyle, right? When I'm watching a movie, you may be looking at somebody doing shooting. I'm looking at art direction. I'm looking at the set. Okay. When I'm on Instagram, I'm saving things that, if you see my save folder, all sorts of things, aesthetics and ideas, stay on top of trends, what's going on in the industry. You may say, I've never traveled out before. I tell people, how many people know people who have an accent and they've never left Nigeria?
So many, lots of them. So many.
How do they do that? They're watching a movie. So you don't have that excuse anymore. So you can be born in a village and you want to plan. You can go on YouTube. You see how they planned Met Gala, how the Grammys was planned. So it's not even, that cannot stop you anymore. So if you are truly, truly interested, I tell my team, you need to get that exposure to be able, you can't give what you don't have. So you stay on top of trends, you innovate, you reinvent yourself, everything we've talked about today, and that's how you stay relevant, in my opinion.
Thank you so much. I don't know if you are really. I'm heavy. I'm loaded with information right now. Let's go. We're available. Hi.
Hi. Good afternoon.
Hi. Good afternoon.
Hi, Marie. Hi. I'm the co-founder of Culture Lab. We're a futures thinking brand and design consultancy. And I just want to make a couple of statements before I ask my question. So I recently just transitioned I'm someone who lives to transition. I'm always wearing different hats. And I think some of the issues that I've faced in the past is really being able to express all the different sides of who I am as a person. So I really love what Sasha said, because she mentioned when she talked about her transition from music, which I also have a background in, to fashion. It really stood out for me. So I just, my question or my statement more like is, my question is, how are you able to, make it all come together in a way that doesn't lead to like an identity crisis? Because that's kind of where I am now, because I transitioned from brand management, right?
Thank you for clarifying.
From experiential activations planning, to brand management, and now into running my own company. So that is really my question. How do I? Because at the same time, I'll tell you that I'm still involved in all these other things. I'll tell you that my company still does that. But I'm at a point where I really want to harness every single creative gift that God has put inside me. Because I read somewhere that for you to really stand, be a mountain that stands above mountains, you must harness every single thing that you have to empty everything that has been put inside you. So I just want to know how to really navigate that. I mean, I think I'm on my way, but hearing from professionals who have done it for years is very key for me. And then also, just, the statements around fear, I really want to talk about that a bit, because I feel like that's something that I have really had to face, even with my transition. One thing I'll say is, you have to forget what you know. It's almost like dying to self, right? You have to be like a baby that, like a vessel that is empty and is willing to be filled, right? So I would say that the only way to navigate fear is to face it. Headstrong. Because when you face it every day, you realize that the obstacle or the mountain doesn't seem as high as it seemed on the first day, right? So that's, I really like that statement and the question, and I just wanted to say that. So yeah, I've asked my question.
Well done. Well, thank you for the question, and well done for transitioning and being on this beautiful journey. And to answer your question, what I would say is that you just keep doing it. I've always been a very instinctive person. So if I like something, I want to learn about it. I want to do it. And I feel like that's also the way the Holy Spirit guides you. If it puts a desire in your heart, then you follow through. So if there are all these things that you feel like doing, learn them, do them. You might do one, the next day you're like, that's not really me, I'm not feeling it. And then it's from learning and experiencing all these things that you begin to carve out what your purpose really is and figure it out. So it's a continuous journey, but just showing up is big. Just staying, curious and being teachable is a huge thing. So I'm glad that you're on this journey that you're on, and I want you to just honor the lessons that you're learning along the way. And the further you walk, the clearer the picture becomes. You're onto something already, so well done.
Fantastic, thank you. I'm just going to add a little bit to what Sasha just said. If, let's say, for example, you're switching from maybe music and you're going to fashion, as an example, sometimes the lesson or the big thing is not in launching a fashion brand or in arriving at what you would say is your final destination. If there are 10 steps between having your music career and then having a successful fashion brand, you might get to step 3, and what you're supposed to get from that process is in those 3 steps. So sometimes it's not about going all the way. If you have maybe an interest in something, just start, and then when you, like you said, you have that indication, God, the Holy Spirit is going to let you know when the grace has shifted, when you're no longer supposed to go further than this. Know that you've received what you're supposed to receive. You might not even know it at the time. Just trust that you're on the right path. If it says pivot, and you get to a point where it will become clear. You'll be like, oh, so those 3 steps I took in that direction, this is what it did for me. So I just wanted to add that bit to it. Of course, go ahead.
I wanted to also say, because you mentioned something about identity crisis, and I wanted to speak to that and say what has been helpful for me was figuring out what do all these things that I'm passionate about have in common. And so I decided that, creativity is my superpower.
Yes.
And just like my career, I express in different ways. So today is running, tomorrow is planning an event. So first of all, I'm not doing plenty different things. I'm being creative, but expressing them differently. So figure out what it is that is what's the thing everything has in common. And that's who you are. And so, no identity crisis probably.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Sasha. Amazing response. Please go ahead.
How do you prioritize your time, your energy towards it? I do not concentrate totally. At times I'm either here or there. But I really want to learn. I'm in the process of learning how to prioritize. This is what you want to do, and you have to do it. And then most times I'm a bit carried away. How do you prioritize your time towards what you do? That's for Sasha. And then for MBO.
That's fine.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I've been learning a lot from you. Is there a particular app that you have or that you've been doing that is making you stay ahead? Is there a particular thing that you put together that this is me and this is what I'm doing?
So how do I prioritize? Newsflash, right now, I'm in the journey of prioritizing rest. But prior to that, I think people that know me will say I'm a bit neurotic and I'm trying to relax now. How did I prioritize prior to that? I write everything down. Like somehow it helps me. Like, so if I need to do something, once I feel like I'm getting overwhelmed, I take out a piece of paper and number everything that I need to do. Or I need to do this, write the steps of everything. So as I do it, I check things off. And if I'm able to do 5 out of 13 that day, at least I can see my progress and I feel better, as opposed to feeling like, oh, I'm overwhelmed and I'm failing at everything. And I think it's just natural to, sometimes be overwhelmed, we're overstimulated and you're feeling like, I can't do everything at this time. So, learning your patterns, learning yourself, being self-aware, and being able to see when you think that maybe you're taking a bit too much on or not. Also, I've learned to say no. Before I used to have a problem saying no. That was also a journey. I even said no, and then I'll be there, I maybe, second guessing yourself. But again, all these things are practice. The more you honor yourself, the more you are able to do and focus on what actually serves you and what doesn't. So I hope those, tips help.
Fantastic. Thank you. F, your response.
Again, how do I stay focused? I already answered the question, but let me just add to this, right? For me, when I want to do anything, and I also answer your other question about how do you stay, because you said something about distraction and all that. So 2 things for me. Remember I said to you guys that for me, it's about value. That's my core of anything I interact with must be better than when I met it or when I found it. Whether it's a human being, whether it's a project, whatever, that FVO walked into this room, there has to be value, right? Then the second thing is integrity. So I tie everything to it. So for example, look, at the end of the day, say I promise you I will come to your house at 3 o'clock on Sunday, right? For a meeting or whatever. I, like everybody else, we wake up on Sunday or on the particular day and I'm tired and I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to go anywhere. A lot of people you can lie down there and lie and say, you know what, somebody died or something. But for me, it's back to my integrity. I'm like, I promised this person. I said I'll be there at 3 o'clock. I have to be there. So anytime I tie to that, I don't know, the power just comes like, FVO, you cannot let this person down, right? So we all have our days when we want to sleep in, we don't want to do stuff. And I'm not saying, there'll be times where you may have to call to cancel, but I'm saying that I tie everything to my integrity. I tie everything to the fact that when I make a promise, I keep it. Yeah. So for example, you work for someone, you're a project manager, you are being paid for a job. I tell people that it's not only people who steal that have people that don't have integrity. Somebody has paid you to do something, you are not doing it. There's an issue, So, and unfortunately, don't let me even go into where I want to go now, because the truth is, I tell people, okay, you start a job and somebody agrees to pay you 500,000 naira a month. You mess up from the 1st to the 30th, and you still get paid anyway. Nobody's going to say, give me back change. Do you get? So at the end of the day, you are paying. So you have to say to yourself, what have I done to earn this money? Okay, so it's down to you. You made a promise to this person. I will do this. You will pay me this. So those things are the things that should bring you back to that consciousness of, amen, I'm tired. I'm feeling lazy right now, but I have to do this thing because I made a promise. That helps you to focus. Okay? All right. So
Thank you so much. Amazing.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Waire. I'm the general manager for Mahogany Productions and Events. So I'm an event producer. So my question, and I think I might go the long-winded route. At this point where I am currently, it's more like my CEO is transitioning. Like he likes to say, semi-retired. So I'm also then transitioning into more of a CEO role and kind of like leading the business. And so one of the things that I think that I've been struggling with is because I'm transitioning into this role, I'm really getting to, there's more in terms of not just, so I was in a role before where they would say, this is what we're doing, you know, so you do it. And there's somebody thinking about the process. Exactly. Yes. So there's somebody saying, this is what we're doing. Oh, you know, we just have this event, so do this project. Yeah. But now, apart from thinking about that, I now have to be the one to now say, okay, so this is what we're doing in terms of the organization, you know, in terms of what do we want the company to look like? What am I planning towards to in the future? And in planning for that, I tend to always want to look at, like I like to say, I have a lot of mentors in the industry, even if they don't know they are mentoring me, but they are. I tend to all look at, you know, the people that I see as the current CEO. So I'm looking at Mr. Kumi, I'm looking at, you know, Madam Toby, and I'm seeing what they're doing. And I really want to get there. Now, this is my question. How do I pace myself? Because in my head, I do recognize that they've been doing this for so many years. So the point they're at now is actually born out of experience. But I also feel like, okay, and maybe it's also because I'm taking over a company that has also been in existence for a while. So I feel like, oh, I have to be at that level. But I do not have everything that they have. So I think the question I want to ask is, from when you know, started before you became who you are now, how did you pace yourself through that process? That because the one thing I don't want to do is arrive too soon and not be ready for what is at that destination. So how do you pace yourself through that process?
So, there's nothing like experience. Experience is what's going to teach you a lot of things. But first of all, you have to understand that for your CEO, for your boss to choose you, there must be something he saw in you. Yeah, let that sink in. Okay. So I hope that will help your confidence, because there are so many people he could have selected to take on this role, right? So that's number one. Two, don't try to be like him. You can't be. Yeah. However, you need to sit him down and get into his head. He needs to tell you maybe 3 things, KPIs, or your mission statement and your vision statement. You sit down together, you dissect it, you understand it. All right? And then ask him, what is the success criteria at the end of the day? And you begin to push and focus on those things. Yeah? It doesn't matter how you get there. As long as you hit those metrics, you're good. Of course, with integrity and everything, right? So don't try and, yes, learn from him and all that. But what is important is you're making the money, you're attaining the goals, he'll be good with it. Yeah? You bring your own uniqueness to it. When I'm training people, I'm not asking them, I mean, Kumi is here. Kumi is his own person. They'll take elements from you, but they'll add it to their own themselves to become who they want to be or they should be. All right? So I don't know if that helps you. Yeah? Yeah. So
Thank you.
You know, I think that's, I mean, the perfect answer, but I'd just like to add that you should enjoy the journey as opposed to looking at it as pacing yourself, because a lot of us that have been here for as long as we've been, it's just putting one foot in front of the other, taking new adventures, taking on new experiences, and then you look back and you're like, oh, I've been here for 20 years, like, oh my God, you know what I mean? Like, how did I get here? You know, it feels like yesterday. So don't get ahead of your journey. Enjoy the process. You are going to miss these days.
Really true. I'm just going to jump in and say that it's very easy for you to forget the experiences that you've had. I did maybe last year, I came across my CV, I came across it, and I started looking through it, and I was like, I've been doing this for over a decade. Wow. And I'm seeing things that I wrote in the CV. I forgot I wrote them, I forgot they were there. I'm like, oh, I did this. It feels like I've lived maybe like 5 different lives in one. So the journey will go by really fast. Forget that it's today and tomorrow. It will go by fast. So I'm plus one with what they said. Make sure that you're not trying to rinse and repeat who your boss is. Your boss is your boss. He's done his bit. He's leaving. Now it's your time. Take that, own it. You have to own it, and then enjoy the experience. Make it your own, like she just said. You're welcome.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
My name is Toby. I work for TEPS. My question is for Jennifer. Because I met you, I didn't meet you in the event space. I met you. So my question is, one, how have you adapted to working for two completely different bosses? Because I knew your former boss, I know your present boss. They are completely different. Two, for people that are hiring, I want to keep good entrepreneurial. I know you're very entrepreneurial, but you have a 9-to-5, and I don't know if you still do other things, but you're very loyal. You know, you got hired before I could get you. when Henry hired you, I was like, shit, oh God, I missed that. But how do you stay? What has Hughes Valeries done to keep you interested and keep you so excited about your job? Because we all want great people, we want to inspire, help, train, but what have they done to keep you inspired and happy? And how have you adapted from a completely different industry, a completely different environment, culture, everything? How have you done that? Thank you.
Okay, that's a very loaded question. And thank you for asking me. And it's amazing that my boss, Mr. Henry, is actually he's actually here. I've been very fortunate to work for amazing people. My first real job was with Bella Naija, and that was when Bella Naija was still Bella Naija. And I worked with Uche, and I enjoyed working with the person. A lot of times the organization stems from the individual that started it. And I've been absolutely fortunate to work with amazing individuals. After working with Uche for 3 years, I did my own thing, and then I worked for myself, which was quite the experience. And then I ended up working with TW Magazine, Mrs. Adesiwa Inokwe. And like she said, she's quite different. And I fell in love with her personality and her person. If you've ever met her, she's very unique in terms of who she is and what she brings to the table. And moving now to my current boss, Mr. Henry Ikichukwu, I say often that I quote unquote fell in love with Mr. Henry before I met Hughes Valeries. We met on a media trip, and his personality, his person was what attracted me to him. Everybody, and I'm like, what is this everybody's talking about? And I got to see his warmth and his personality, and even the excellence of the person that he is, and that feeds into the Hughes Valeries team and the Hughes Valeries system that's in place. And if you're saying, oh, what have they done to keep me? A lot, really. And to be honest, when we first started talking about me working with the team, it really did boil down. I was at a very pivotal point in my career, and I will be very honest. I was looking at God and saying, I want to work for a company where I bring value, and I want to work for a company where I grow. And I think an important part for either you're working a 9-to-5 or you're an entrepreneur is to understand where you are and to be comfortable with it. I wanted to the kind of work I was looking for before hit, I was looking for like how I want to be earning 2 point this, but then I told God, I said, okay, I don't mind being able to steward what you give me. Give me something that I can hold and I'm ready for. Whatever you think I'm ready for, give me, I'll take. And I want it to be at a place where I'm comfortable and where I'm kept safe. I'm kept safe, to use Valeris. I'm kept safe by him and by my colleagues. You see the level of work that we do. I mean, we worked on a couple of events together, and you know Mr. Henry personally, so you know the nature of his personality. And so being able to find a company like that, even down to my sisters, they know him, like they've met him a couple of times. Being able to be in that environment where you're nurtured and you are comfortable with where you are. They're stretching you, you're doing things you've never done before. My first event from Mr. Henry was a big one. He gave it to me like literally maybe a week into me starting. I'm like, why would you give me this kind of big work? And he trusted me for some reason. I really don't know why. And he said, I trust that you can handle this event. Even that trust alone, I wanted to do my absolute best. I was not sleeping. My niece would be like, you've not slept. I said, I will not sleep when we drop the pen. And so just being able to, like she's talked about this over and over again, realizing the value that you have. It might not be perfect in your eyes, but if you are able to pinpoint that, okay, I can do this one thing, and when whoever you're working with says, oh, what do you bring to the table? I'm like, okay, this is the thing I can do. And it's okay, bring it. Not only are you bringing that thing to the table, you are giving them the opportunity to help you grow that thing for the benefit of their company and for your benefit as well. So it's a win-win situation. And just be where you are, be present. Don't be where you are and have prematurely, that is, have your sights set and, oh, well, this person is and that person is. Be where you are, learn what you're supposed to learn, get what you're supposed to get, be impactful. And I will say this, because this is a lesson that I'm learning and I had to learn the hard way. When I worked at my first job, there was a time to move, the grace had shifted, and I was so new to it that I didn't know I was supposed to move as well. So I was there and I was occupying the space of someone else that was supposed to come in, and that was supposed to be their time and their spot. So be so present that you are aware of those subtle moves and shifts that happen, and just make sure that you're bringing value to the table as much. Spend yourself, throw yourself at it. Let your boss even know that this person is throwing themselves at it. That's why your boss can see you and say, I want you to continue this, because you will throw yourself at a thing. That's why Sasha is where she is today. She will throw herself at a thing. FU threw herself at her company. She throws herself at things every day, irrespective of what fear is telling you. So I really hope that has helped. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. I don't know if we have any other contribution. Okay, great.
Okay.
Hello,
everybody.
Hi.
My name is Maria. I'm the content creator here.
Hi, Maria. You're frustrated on stage. Hi.
Thank you, Teps, for having me always. This discussion has been so brilliant, and I have learned a lot. I have a two-part question for both Sasha, I've told you I'm a fan, and FU. So yeah, my question is, how do you get past inertia? Like, you have a creative idea and you have like things, you feel it in your spirit, this is going to be great, and you get so overwhelmed with the idea that you just stay at that spot. I don't know if it's something any other person can relate with, but how do you get like past that to actually, because I heard you talking about like doing, like it doesn't happen if you don't start doing. So that's the first question. How do you with your creative ideas? Then secondly, how do you overcome, now this is not a fear of failure, this is actually failing. How do you heal past failing to get on to the next thing that you have to do? So those are my questions. Thank you.
Okay, so first of all, how do you get past failing? And the second one was, how do you do?
Like when you have, yeah.
So when you have an idea, I mean, I've also learned that today. I mean, I practiced it, but I like the way that, during your discussion it was framed, which was to test drive the idea. So first of all, if you have an idea, you need to test drive it. So instead of freezing, maybe, is it going to fail? Is it going to, do a little, no matter how little, I think sometimes we get stunted because when we have an idea, we want to do everything big. Everything doesn't have to be big. Let it even exist first. That's my thing. Like, let me do it with what I have, and then we can think of making it bigger. So no matter how small it is, test drive it, do it first. And it doesn't have to be big. So I think if you break that down, it might help with the overwhelming feeling of, I might never get this done, if you do it on a smaller scale. And then how do you get past a failure? I think when I began to view failure as redirection, that really helps. It doesn't mean that you don't do the hurting and everything. You know, sometimes in a very weird way, I will time my pain. I'll say, okay, you're allowed 3 days to cry and wail about it, but day 4 you have to get up and go. And when you begin to look at it that way, is like she said, when the cars that we're driving now, the person that eventually created a Volkswagen or what have you was not the first person that thought it would be nice for something to move me without me having to say, yeah. You know, so the idea that you're doing something, if you failed, means that you just found different ways not to do it. So don't look at a failure as, don't own failures like a part of your character or a part of your identity. It's a thing that happens when you're trying to do something. So it's part of life. It's going to happen. It's okay. Now this has happened. This is one way not to do it. Let me try something else. Imagine Thomas Edison and the light bulb. Did you hear how many times? I don't know if I have that much resilience to keep trying something. But when you hear different stories like that, it lets you know that, look, I need to keep going, because otherwise I'll never see the end of this. And I don't know if my 99th try is going to be my big one. So it's just redirection.
Amazing. Okay, great. That's good. How do you get past, taking idea from idea to execution, especially when you're afraid of failing, right? When you fail. No, there are 2 questions. The one about, that inertia of how you have this idea and you don't know how to move it to execution stage. What I'll say is this, right? Every idea should be solving a problem. I know I've said a lot of things today again and again, but that's the way I think, right? So every idea is solving a problem. So when God has put an idea inside you to solve a problem, and you are holding it to yourself because you're afraid to, do you understand? I can see the light bulb, yeah. So exactly. So you have to see it like, say you have an idea to help motherless babies, for example, and God has given you that idea. And then you are holding on to that idea because you're afraid. People are dying. What? Do you understand what I'm saying? So you are thinking about yourself. Let me say, a preacher, I heard a preacher say something one time, and he said, he's a very great preacher, Andrew Womack. He said something about pride. I was scrolling through Instagram and YouTube, and I saw something about, how you look at some message and this one is not for me. I'm not proud. I'm not proud. And then he said when he first started preaching, like he never wanted to preach. He didn't want to preach. He couldn't preach. He was very timid. And then one day God told him, or was it someone or God told him, you're very proud. And it's like, proud? No, I'm humble. That's why I don't even want to say. I said, no, you are thinking about yourself. So how am I thinking about myself? You are thinking, you don't want to expose your mistakes to people. And that really helps me, because I'm honestly, Kumi will tell you, you see me here, like, I just don't like this limelight thing. It's not my thing. But when I heard that message, it was like, even if you are in a place like this and you only one person gets to benefit from, you have done something. So you are thinking about yourself and you are depriving someone whose life is going to change because of what God has put inside of you. You're thinking about yourself. You're being selfish. You're being arrogant. So you have to see it like that. That there's a solution God has given you. Something an idea He has given you to solve the problem. What if the person who was supposed to invent the airplane was like, I'm afraid we'll all be walking now to Abuja, and so taking cars. Yeah. Do you get? So that's right. Yeah. And the thing about failure is part of success. You just have to see it like that, right? If you don't want to fail, then that means you can't succeed. There's nobody that has succeeded in something that has not failed. So you choose the one you want.
Thank you so much. It's really happening for you. It's for you. Even failure is for you. Just look at it, put on the right goggles, put on the right glasses, and look at it in the right way. It's for you. It's not against you. Okay? Thank you so much. 2 more questions. Everything a double. Hello. Hi.
My name is Doing and I work with Purple Fire Entertainment.
Hello.
So my question is, what would you say to someone that struggles with putting their work out there for people to see? So you can do the work, you know you're good at the work, you do the work, but then like advertising yourself is an issue.
I think personally, I might not even be the best person to answer this question, because I also want to learn that, because it's something I personally struggled with. I'm the sort of person that likes to just do the work and let the work speak for itself. But I think we're generally in an environment now where attention is currency, and so in order to, this conversation about staying ahead and pivoting is now that we understand that attention is currency. What are the ways that I need to, what are the new skills I need to learn to put my best foot forward in this environment? So I'm currently on that journey as well, and I think that what I would say to somebody like me is ask questions. If there are people doing it the way you admire already, start following. Even if it's then you ask the question, watch what they do and emulate that, and then make it your own. So with everything we said today, you just have to start somewhere. So if you're afraid to do it, ask or pay someone to do it for you.
So somebody asked me this question the last time I was doing training, and she was like, "Oh, my work, I'm putting it out there. I'm getting 2 likes. I'm like, so what? Right? Do you know the funny thing? Even now, before now, we didn't even have the insights we have now. There was something I posted. In fact, I just said, because even me, it's not. I'm not even the right person to be asking, but I'm trying these days. But now because of this new insight thing, there was a picture I posted, and I think it had 900 likes, right? And then I checked the insight. I don't know, I was bored, and I saw 42,000 views. What does that tell you? They saw it, but they just didn't like it. Do you guys understand? So they saw it, but they just didn't like it. Sometimes you don't get 1 like, but they've seen, people, human beings, they are funny. They just, let's just see, but they've seen it. Yeah. But even if there was a time I used to do something called #FVO folder on my Instagram, and it was just random things that I like. I'm very good with I love visuals a lot. So I'll see weird what people call weird sometimes, and I'll see something about it and post it and do #FVO folder. Sometimes I'll get 2 likes, sometimes 1 like, but guess what? I did not care, because it was giving me so much joy. When I go on my page, until one day I went out, someone said, "FVO, I follow FVO folder." I said, is it a thing? So don't do it because you are thinking someone. Put out your good work, put it out there. Just put it out there. You believe in it, you love it, put it out there. Somebody somewhere will see. And also it's even good for when people go to your page, they get an idea of what you do. There are people that, and I'm going to say this, there are people that I did not even call for an interview because they had nothing on social media. Believe it or not. You send me your CV, you say you're a business development manager or something, or you are doing PR or something, and then I cannot find anything. I'm like, you can't help my business. You know what I mean? I need to know who you are. Now everybody checks everybody out. So honestly, in 2025, if I know you and I want to do business with you and I don't find anything about you on social media, I'm worried. Yeah, I'm like, there's a problem. Even if it is 5 posts, post something. Let me get a feel of who you are, what you like, right? So please post, just try.
And to add to that, there's schedules as well. That's something I've used in the past. Like when I was doing my fashion business, just decide, on a weekly schedule. There are calendars that can help you what to post on. Your prompts for Monday, maybe talk about your experience. Wednesday, talk about the process or what you learned from this and such like that. And I know that Takumi is not on this panel, but he's somebody that does this very well. And I also like him to answer that so that we can all learn. So let's put you on the spot, but teach us.
I'd say post. You never know who is watching, who is liking, and when it's going to blow. Just keep posting. Whatever it is, post. If it looks stupid, just post. Just post it. Just post it. Salam was talking about someone yesterday.
Yeah, so
some guy has been posting.
Yeah.
And then someone with 4 million viewers, 4 million followers sees the guy and starts to hype him, and then the guy goes to like 300k followers.
Wow.
He never knew that one person was going to
See that.
Sunday. So just post. Keep posting. Forget the likes. Don't be high on the likes. It's a drug. Don't live on that drug. Just put out the work. Let them see it. And trust me, the value is going to come to you someday.
Amazing. Maybe we should have had an honorary speaker. But thank you. Next time we shall invite you. Okay, we have a contribution or a question. A question and a question. I love the engagements. Thank you so much. You're making my job quite easy.
Okay, so hi, my name is Titi and I'm a talent agent and coordinator for Purple Fire Entertainment. So my contribution, because with the whole fear thing, because I was just having a conversation with somebody yesterday like regarding fear, and I was telling them there's this adrenaline that comes with being afraid or from fear that I personally really like. So with my contribution, I'll say get comfortable with that adrenaline. You know, when you're afraid, when there's so much fear, like I don't know how to explain, but for me, I enjoy it. It's a feel-good moment for me. So I'll just say, in terms of my contribution to that, like feel good with being afraid is a good thing. The adrenaline that comes from it, trust me, you enjoy it. And there's one thing I say to myself every time I'm scared or every time I'm in fear is, I'm not Christian, but like I still say it anyways. The Lord is my shepherd. I fear nothing and I fear no one. So that's just my
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Titi. Amazing contribution. Thank you very much.
I'm Samson Adeyemi, and the reason why I couldn't just let it pass, without saying something, because I work in content, I create content for myself, and I also get to work with a lot of creatives, and also brands in the aspect of creating and storytelling. So I think the first thing I would say is that be okay with being a beginner. This is something that I've observed a lot with a lot of professionals. So you're already doing something before, like you said, you work with talent, and all of that. So you are already at that level where you are vast with that. You know that. Now, coming to share on social media, it feels like a new learning curve. So for so many professionals, when they are already doing something, even a lot of videographers and photographers that have been doing it for years, like they genuinely struggle with this thing when it comes to like, let me now start sharing on social media, because they are feeling like I already have 5 to 10 years of experience, or like even if it's 3 to 4 years doing this particular thing, this setting up camera, posting it by myself, like it now feels new. Right, so but if you're able to make peace with being a beginner in that, like it helps you to just like soften it up, be confident with the fact that the person that maybe just wakes up every day and posts on social media, their own videos or the level of confidence that they already exude on camera may not be what you will exude, especially when you're just starting. So don't compare your own day one of sharing to someone else's day 1,000. It's okay for you to like pick up your camera, even though maybe when you talk to your talent, like you talk well, you know what you're saying, but when you pick up your camera, if you're stumbling, like maybe you're stuttering, sorry, it's all right. You just want to start that. So allow yourself to make peace with that. She was saying something about fear, that it's good. I don't know if you are seeing some movies, especially like crime, police and all of that, when maybe like a rookie, it's like, I'm scared to go into the battlefield. Then the boss will be like, good. That means you are not stupid. I don't know if you've witnessed that. It means yes, good. You are not stupid. That's why you're not, because you're going out to face bullets. If you are not scared, then I should be. So it's all right. It's because you care about it. You care about putting yourself out. So you are a little bit skeptical about it. So allow yourself to make peace with that. Allow yourself to make peace with being a beginner, and just start from there. When you see that, okay, maybe you post something and you're like, okay, I can do better with this. That way you are able to like just embrace yourself more, instead of like trying to like beat it out of yourself, you know, and also see it as, instead of, like everybody have been saying, you know, instead of seeing it for the likes, you know, because you have already been doing it, you have already been doing something, now you are coming on, so you feel like, oh, everybody should just listen to me, you know. No, it won't be like that. There will be a curve to that too. Just see it as you are documenting your progress. You know, it becomes like a track record for you, becomes like a portfolio for you. You know, so just see it that way. That way, you know, you are just sharing from, okay, when people want to search about me, they see what I'm doing. You know, tell your story around the people that you're already working with. You know, no pressure. You have done this, tell a story about it. If it's a caption that you can write, if it's just a video where you're just saying something, if it's just a recording of yourself where you just put the text on it, you know, just let it be like a track record kind of vibe, so that when people come around, they can just say, oh, this person has done this. One of the biggest talent manager, Taiwo Adeyemi, the person that manages Tunde Onokoya, the person that they literally planned the Guinness World of Record together, on a social media, I don't think he has up to 10,000 followers. You can check his Instagram, but he has done some of the greatest work that you will ever find out there. You know, so it's okay. Don't just look at the followers, but just be concerned about, okay, this is like a track record kind of vibe. You know, so I hope that was
very well said. Thank you so much, Samson. Samson the Great. I think that's what we should be calling you from now on. I mean, thank you so much. I love the fact that, you know, you were able to articulate that so well. It would be silly of a baby to see others running and say, oh, me too, I want to run. Get comfortable with crawling, learn to stand, get comfortable with crawling. The babies that they can crawl forward, reverse, turn around, and then you start to, you know, walk, and then before you know it, you're running, and it's onward and forward from then on. Okay, we have one question, contribution.
Hi, my name is Toby.
Hi, Toby.
I have a question, actually, and then my question is directed towards Sasha, because I kind of like I still do. I look up to her in terms of she's an artist. I'm an artist. I started my career into music as an artist. And then when I started working as an artist, I figured out that I can't just be this, so I have to go in behind the scenes in the industry and see what's happening there. And I was kind of like thrown into events production. So my first gig, which is like still like the biggest gig I've had, I was just thrown into it. Oh, do you events produce? I was like, yes, just to be part of it. I actually just wanted to perform. And I was like, okay, now I've been given this huge budget. I don't know what to do. Thank God that I aced it. But like, you know, it just like, I now found like passion for events production as well, alongside, you know, PR, project management, other things that I do, which is like kind of overwhelming. My question now is, I'm looking for a mentor. And I feel like, I don't know what mentors look for when they are trying to mentor somebody, or if there's a category or a criteria that you're looking for to mentor someone. But I want to ask, what are the categories? What are the criteria before you take up mentorship? Do you do private mentorship? If you do, where do I sign up?
Oh, that's really kind. Mentorship, I think for anybody, you know, wanting to be mentored or mentee, my thing specifically is that I would always ask, even if you're working with me, like, what are your personal dreams? What are your goals? Because you first have to identify whether I've done what you're trying to do, or whether I have the skill to add value to your journey. Because, like we said, if it's the way somebody dresses, we're looking at, you know, what specifically about the journey or my journey do you need guidance with, and if it's something that I can help you with, I'm happy to do that. You know, no pressure at all. Send my email address and you sign up. It's just important for me always to make sure that when you work with me or share time with me, I'm helping you on the journey to get into where you need to be. That's it.
Thank you so much, Sasha. Effie, I'm going to ask Phil her question to you as well. You have an academy. When you're mentoring, what are there some key things that you pick from people and like, okay, this you're ready, you're ready to mind and all that?
Yeah, I wasn't going to add to it before you asked me. So for me, for mentorship, right, I think that first of all, you should identify what exactly you want to get out of the mentorship, right? So for example, I want to learn how to rap. I'm just saying, right? And I want to be able to do it in 6 months, okay? Share that with your mentor so you are both aligned. there's a goal, because if it's just, I just want to be a mentor, I know that's not what you're saying. I'm just answering this in general, right? Have a goal, agree on it, align with it. If, for example, you want Michelle Obama, for example, to be your mentor, you may never get to see her face to face, but guess what? She's written a book. She has stuff online that you can go and check. That is mentorship. Going there, listening to her, reading her books. That is her pouring her life story into a book. So sometimes it shouldn't be just limited to one-on-one, you are sitting with me. There are so many, because if that's the case, then I don't know how you'll grow. So you get inspiration everywhere. Find the people you want to be like, and find the things they have put out there, and try and take it from there. For me, for my academy, beyond the school, beyond the training, we're in a WhatsApp group together. So because for me, right, there's so much you can teach someone. Like for everybody here, we've been here talking for a few hours. There has to be something after this, right? You can't just say I've listened to this and then you have to take notes, or take one thing that there's an action for you to do afterwards. So for me, for the training, it's not just enough for them to come and do training. They become part of the community. Then the WhatsApp groups, of them DM me. There was actually somebody who sent an email to a client messed her up or something. She did not know how to respond. I said, give it to me. We typed the email together and I sent it, right? And then we have like quarterly hangouts where we all get to hang around, meet each other. They even have their own little groups. They work together and all that. So for me, it's about making impact. So and how do you know whether somebody is ready for the hunger? You will tell. You can tell when somebody is serious. You will know. When you give feedback, the way they go back and work with it.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So much information. Okay, for the fact that you're not moving around, I think we're done. Okay. Before we start to round up, I know we wish you could just sit here and just enjoy before encountering Lagos, but Sasha and Efiu, I want to ask you this. So, Sasha, imagine that the Sasha of 2015 is sitting right in that empty seat and she's looking at you now. What would you say to her that would encourage her? She eventually found her way, but what would you say to her that every other woman who's in this room can benefit from and take home? Say someone just walked in here and you're talking to yourself. What's that message that you would give to yourself and to other women here?
I think that message would be, don't be so hard on yourself and give yourself grace. That would be my message to myself.
Well said. Very succinct. So thank you. Thank you very much, Efiu. What would you say to a younger Efiu just starting out in the industry, trying to figure it out?
Just bring value to everything you do. That for me, it's funny. Someone asked me this question last year and I couldn't answer. I was thinking, I was like so I guess I was prepared for this, just because for me it's just one step at a time. If you are giving you're faithful in little, you get more, and to make a way for more. Do you get? There are people in Nigeria who we hear that some people gave them a big gift that transformed their lives and changed their lives, right? But it was because somebody saw them and was like, you've done amazing. What can I do for you? Do you know what? I don't have anything, but I'll give you this thing. So it starts from that little, just showing up and putting in your best, and every other thing will fall in place. That's what I think.
Amazing. Awesome. Thank you so much. I would like to ask everyone to just take a minute. We've heard a lot of information. We've all asked questions. We've had our contributions. There's this thing that happens even in the church setting. You're hyped from an event, you just finished listening to so many amazing things and words. The minute you step in, say this one, bus driver do that one, and then you feel like you're losing information. So what I want you to do is just take a minute and just sit with the value that you've collected from this event, because I know you've gotten a lot of value. Sit with it, think about it. Before you leave, even though we're going to have food and drinks and all of that, take time to write out, even if it's 2 or 3 action points. There's nothing that's going to come out of this event if you don't take action with what you've heard. It'll be just another feel-good event. It's been a great event, but it's just going to be one of those things you attend. You have the photo, video, nice. Write down 2 or 3 action points that you are going to actually execute, whether it's looking for ways to turn your fear into your ally, whether it's pinpointing the areas where you have value, whether it's about creating your content. Whatever the case is, take a moment, take a breather. I implore you, please. If you're going to do anything, sit with yourself and write those action points down and say, okay, I'm going to do A, B, C, and actually do it. Take it, break it down, have it going on and on in your mind. And I promise you, by the time we have the 4th edition of this conversation, you're going to be coming back with feedback of, much greater things, that you've done over the course of, the year. Okay, thank you so much. This has been a phenomenal conversation. I would like to say a massive thank you to TEPS. Miss Toby, she's outside eventing, but I want to say a massive thank you to our speakers. Thank you for pouring from yourselves. Thank you so much for impacting all these women. You've seen how things that you've done in the past and just what they know about you is really playing a different many roles in their lives, and I'm just grateful for taking the time to share your knowledge. Thank you to everyone who contributed, asked questions, sat here and just listened and were a part of this conversation. Thank you to the entire TEPS team for putting this together. If you want to find out more about TEPS, follow them on Instagram, The Power of TEPS, and of course you can find them online, eventteps.com, 1T, so eventteps.com. I have been Jennifer Obiuwevbi. I've been so blessed to handle this conversation. Thank you so much.
Round of applause for Jennifer. Thank you, Jennifer.
So,
thank you, everyone.
Guys, all of you have some type of connection to TEPS, either as collaborators, clients, friends, mentors, whatever it is. And how do we put this? So, a TEPS discussion was born out of the need to impact, right? We know, when it sounds like the Netflix CMO, we know we're innovative, we know we're great. And again, I like the fact that you guys have mentioned God so many times. We've been on the journey for a long time, we've made many mistakes. But I personally always have a need to impact in whatever way that comes into my head. I know people have mentioned doing it afraid, blah, blah, blah. There are a lot of things that we do, we're wondering how is this really affecting? But you know what, an idea we had, just run with it. We did, the first TEPS IWD we did was last year. It took a whole year because we said we were going to be doing TEPS discussion at least thrice a year, but somehow it didn't happen. Last year was amazing. It was just on technology, women in tech, and we had so many, it became so emotional. I had a 50-something-year-old woman saying, I want to build an app because of what you guys said, I'm going ahead. We're just getting some kind of DMs. We're like, this has become like a ministry, what's going on? And it's beautiful when that happens. Like, it's amazing. I've seen amazing women here. I love Wari's questions. I love doing, I can see, I'm already seeing that, we are becoming old school and a new crop, Jennifer, and it's exciting seeing how the industry is going to become. It's exciting to know that all of us have our parts to play. And thank you for joining us on this journey. You guys are all amazing. I'm personally attracted to people of value and authenticity, and all of you are. All of you are unique. You're special. You're excellent. I think we've said that people that will sit on our chair, even if it's, as I said, 5 followers, we don't care. They must have some certain values, and you guys all embody that. And we really love and appreciate you. We've learned a lot. We believe whoever hears this is going to take something, going to add value to their lives, to their work, to their ecosystem. So thank you. We know we've extended the time. I see Evio's eyes roaming. Maybe there's one meeting somewhere. So unfortunately, people came late and stuff. And we really just didn't want it to be just a recording. We wanted people to be able to, engage. So thank you for your time. Thank you for walking the talk. Thank you for being people that people can look up to. Yes, you make your own mistakes, you're on your own journey, but thank you, and thank you. And yes, please, if you not use TEPS, use us. Thank you.